I have had the Miyoo Flip for a good 10 days to 2 weeks now. I know I said after a week, but I am reporting back and it's actually okay. It's okay. So I know that in my previous video, I was very hesitant and I was very worried about things and I wanted to like it. Well, I think I like it now. I do. And here's why. So first off, before I get into all that, after a couple days, I got a little bored with the stock OS. So of course, I wanted to see what else was out there as far as custom firmware, which there really isn't much of anything at this moment, so don't get your hopes up. It's basically MinUI and the stock OS. You can upgrade the stock OS, and that's really about it. I was researching, it sounds like there's an alpha build of Newly, maybe, I don't know, but it didn't look like it was really fleshed out at all. I didn't want to show that because if it doesn't work, so it sounds like it's not ready. So MinUI it was. And that was really my first time using MinUI. I did have a previous video with my TrimUI brick that I put PackUI on there, and that is a fork of MinUI. But that was kind of my first experience with MinUI, which it's nice. It's a very minimalistic operating system. So if you're into that, it's very cool. I did have some issues, and that's why I'm not showing any footage of my specific device with it on there. I had some issues with my first installation, so then I wiped my card and I did it again. It was working, but there were some things that weren't working so great. I couldn't get native Pico 8 to work, and that's one of the things I was really looking forward to, because if you follow my channel at all, I'm a big advocate for Pico 8 and I love playing it. And this is the perfect device for Pico 8. It's a little tiny thing. All you got to do is just connect it, or not even connect it. You have some carts on there and you can just super happy. Pico 8 was having some issues. That made me sad. There were just a couple other things that I just wasn't a huge fan of, and it was a little too minimalistic just for my taste. Now, take that with a grain of salt. It is a very good custom firmware. I'm just not a big fan of minimalistic. I like flashy things. I want a little attention grabbing, maybe it looks more like a console and instead of an ebook reader. If you do want to get MinUI, I have a link in the description below. Definitely check it out, and you can definitely throw it on your Miyoo Flip. So I went back to the stock OS because that was really the only other option out there. The reason was that there was an add-on little app that you can put on the stock OS, and it gave me native Pico 8. So I did that. I also updated the firmware, and everything's all nice and happy. However, this is just a tiny thing. This is me just being sad and crying a little bit. I got Pico 8 to work. I was able to use Native Explorer. Everything awesome. It was great. Even though the stock OS isn't the greatest in the world, it's not super flashy and it's kind of whatever. But it was working, and I was really okay with dealing with that. Then I couldn't get Atari 2600 to work. So just a side note, if anybody possibly can get Atari 2600 to work on their upgraded stock OS, or even after you've thrown the Pico 8 native app onto the stock OS, please let me know. Throw that in the comments below. I'm racking my brain. I don't understand. It's driving me crazy. Anyway, I'm sure not everybody in the world cares about Atari 2600 nearly as much as I do. So that's my little soapbox about Atari 2600. And I cried a little bit and everything is fine. So I can play Pico 8. I can play some demakes of Atari 2600 games and I'll live. It's okay. So, but in doing that, using the device, going through, doing all the craziness with the different operating systems and going backwards and everything, I was using it quite a bit, and I've used it enough that I'd say probably at least a good hour to 2 hours each day, if not more, not consecutively, but I was using this as my daily driver. It's still my daily driver. I still pop it in my pocket or in my sweatshirt, something. It is always on me. It's near, I put it at my nightstand, maybe jam on it for a few minutes. The buttons are quiet, so everything's all nice and happy there. My conclusion is that I actually kind of like this. I do. Again, I really would love custom firmware to be out there. It would be fantastic if Onion OS was able to go on to, then this would be great then. But I haven't heard anything about Onion OS. If it's still even in development, the devs are even looking into doing the Miyoo Flip. I have no idea. I know that they skipped on the A30, and for whatever reason, I don't remember on that. But I'd like to see a different custom firmware, and then I'd be even more happy. But the stock operating system is functioning okay for me right now. What I really like about this, I can use native Pico 8, which was a big thing for me. It doesn't have Portmaster support just yet. I'm hoping that that would come with custom firmware. That's not a complete deal breaker for me. It would be a bonus. I would really like that, but that's okay. So just know that Portmaster is not working at this moment in time for the Flip. But one thing that I really love is the hardware of this, and we're talking about the buttons, the D-pad, even the joysticks. They are very nice to use. They're very pleasant to use, to play on. They're so soft. And I say that with some wonderment after playing the SP was my daily driver for forever. And that's so clicky. And for everybody out there that loves clicky buttons, that's cool. I am not trying to rain on your parade. But me personally, I am more of a rubber membrane girl, and I love rubber membrane connections. Soft, mushy, that's my jam. And what this has, it's a little bit more, there's a little tiny bit of a tactile, but it's not loud by any means. The other thing, it's not rattly at all. The only thing that is possibly rattly, and I don't know if it's just my device, but the power button is ever so slightly just, that is the only thing that rattles on my device. So I don't know if that's true for everybody's Flip, but it's true on my device. But it is not as rattly, as nowhere near as rattly as the SP. So I am super happy about that. D-pad is nice. I can play all my games, all nice, all happy. And even the joysticks, while they're little and dumb, they're there. And I can use them if I want to. I don't use them that much, but occasionally maybe I want to play Metal Slug on PSP or something, and I use that for just a few moments. But with all that, it's pretty good. Now, the big thing that everybody's wondering about, my Hinge is okay. My Hinge went from being kind of loud and a little creaky, and this, you gotta, you have to be forceful with, and I was worried about the little weird separation that I know I pointed out. I just wanted everybody to be aware of that, which it seems like it might be a thing on everybody's device. I don't know. But anyway, I haven't had any issues. It's not broken yet. Hopefully that's never a thing. Yes, if you do this, it's a little loose, but I feel like that it has to give way. The creakiness went away, and I sat here and I would play with it like a fidget toy, not super rough, but opening it and closing it and just trying to see if it would creak a little bit more, if it would give way, or what was happening. And somehow throughout all my testing and using, the creakiness just sort of went away. I don't know. I don't have any technical idea of why, if maybe it just got broken in. That's the only thing that I can think of. But I will say, I know that there are a few people out there that have had, other reviewers have had some issues with it. So this is my experience. So definitely take this with a grain of salt. Definitely watch other reviews, and not somebody that's trying to break their device, but maybe somebody else that's somebody else that maybe you trust a little bit. So because there are quite a few people out there that are just trying to break this, and I don't know. From my usage, I think it's a pretty decent device. I'm not going to say it's the greatest device in the world, but it's good enough to be my daily driver at this moment in time. And it has everything that I'm looking for. I can jam on it for a few minutes, going through, picking up my kids, maybe I have a minute or two at work or in the car or in line somewhere. And then when I'm done, I can close the device and it saves my game. It shuts off. And then when I open it back up, it resumes my game right where I was. That's awesome. That is a wonderful thing. That I love that feature. Yes, I know you can set that up on the Anbernic SP. I'm aware of that. I have that on it. But you put all those things together, it is pretty cool. I like it. Those are my thoughts, not yours, not anybody else's experience. So I did just want to report back that it's okay for right now. I will say that. And I hope that it's okay for a while, forever. I hope that I'm not going to have a video. I hope my next video on this maybe will be a custom firmware video, maybe a tutorial or whatnot. I hope that it's not going to be, oops, it broke. But if it does, I will report back about that. So definitely hit that subscribe button, hit the like button while you're doing it. And that way you can see when I do bring out any more videos about the Miyoo Flip, you will see them and be updated with them. So those are my thoughts, not yours. As always, thanks for watching. Stay awesome, everyone, and go play some games.